have any idea how much shit I have to go through while I'm on the shitter? Like, for God's sakes.
Yeah,
I mean, that sounds like you're probably there a longer time, so that means you probably have more time on the phone. You have a lot of shit going down in there.
Cute. I forgot I had Phil KOE Jr. in here.
No, it's because of all the unfermented yeast and that shit dough and that taco deep dish pizza that you eat, bro. Boiling your fucking tummy with fucking
my
fermentation
God.
processes happening in your gut.
All right, Trump being a retard. Got it. All right, cool.
Welcome, one and all, to the Minds of the Ecclesia panel. I am your host, Lethe Water Kai, and with me today I have some awesome guests to talk about some awesome issues. So we're going to start off with introduction, starting with Admiral Gibbs.
Howdy, I'm Admiral Gibbs.
Excellent.
All right.
And with us today also, Elder Drazi.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Elder Drazi, and I'm very excited for the topics.
Awesome. And with us today also, Higher Thinking.
What's up, everybody? It's Higher Thinking of the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. Yeah, that sounds like a good one today. Can't wait to get into it.
Awesome. And with us today also, Jebtan.
Jebtan RIP on Twitter, and I do a show with Rampage Paul on Thursdays, so follow Rampage Paul TV on Twitch.
I'm glad you're proud to admit that. Very strong of you.
My man.
And the man that needs no introduction, Tiberius D.
Well, if I don't need any introduction, then I'll just roll with it.
Excellent. So today, we're going to start off with, was this the message the Republican Party wanted to send? Is this just a case of humor taken too sensitively?
Who's starting?
Trump rally draws criticism. It's the final week of campaigning ahead of the election, and the presidential candidates are keeping their feet on the gas. Both candidates are cramming their schedules full of campaign events and especially focusing on battleground states. In a race this tight, the candidates are fighting for every vote, and today President Joe Biden cast his ballot. This election is so important, said Biden. Election day is next week, and both presidential candidates are pushing their supporters to the polls. We must not wake up the day after the election and have any regrets about what we could have done, said Kamala Harris. While Vice President Kamala Harris rallied voters in Philadelphia over the weekend, former President Donald Trump held a campaign event in his home state of New York. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you, said Trump. Some of the speakers at the Trump rally drew criticism for controversial remarks, especially a comedian who called Puerto Rico an island of garbage. Harris says last night's rally is typical of her opponent and his team. Donald Trump spends full time trying to have Americans point fingers at each other, fans the fuel of hatred and division, and that's why people are exhausted with him, said Harris. The Trump campaign is distancing themselves from the comedian's comments. It was a joke that was done in poor taste, and obviously, the joke by this comedian does not reflect the views of President Trump or our campaign, said the Trump campaign spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt. VP Harris is scheduled to hold a rally in Michigan Monday night, and former President Trump will be rallying in Georgia. All right, so how do we feel about this? Starting with Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I kind of echo what Jon Stewart said. First of all, Tony Hinchcliffe is usually fucking hilarious. Two, it'd be kind of having a roast comic come on there and not roast everybody. It's kind of like having Beyonce come to your rally and not sing. Oh, wait, that's what happened. Beyonce went to a rally, didn't sing. Crazy. I can't even believe it. It's just bad strategic choices by everybody. Nobody wanted to hear Beyonce actually talk. We all want to hear her sing. Come on, Kamala, you missed an easy dunk there. Trump team, I don't know what y'all doing having a roast comic roast people before. Bad strategy. But thank God that Democrats can't help shooting themselves in the foot because nobody cares about this anymore. It's done. In fact, it made something worse happen. We had Biden, the president, the city president, call everybody garbage. Nobody even remembers. And just what tells me what's been happening to the left has been so satisfying due to this that I actually want to thank Tony Hinchcliffe because the left has gone into mental gymnastics, nuclear meltdown just to justify something really so stupid that I can't even believe how hard the fact that they're dying on this hill really tells me how the campaigns are going, and it's that the Republicans are dominating. And that's all I have to say about that.
So I've been requested to show a quick clip, and I think this segue in between will be useful for that.
Oh yeah, that's good. %100 right. Mm-hmm. Jon
Right.
Stewart
Elder
is
Drazi.
hilarious.
Yeah, that's been my
You are
take
muted.
for a while, and I was just very happy to
You
hear
muted
somebody
yourself.
else say it.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know it's my.
he said my take better than I could have. I've been hooting and hollering
Mhm.
about it on Twitter for a
Jon
while, and
Stewart
anybody
is
who listened,
hilarious.
and he nailed it. Yeah, that's been my
You are
take
muted.
for
I'm
a
leaving it at
while,
that.
and I was just very happy to
You
hear
muted
somebody
Muted
yourself.
else say it.
Drazi.
Yep.
It's my
All
turn.
right.
Oh.
How are you
Yeah,
thinking?
that's
Oh, okay. I know it's my. I know I did mute myself. I thought you were talking about me this whole time. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. This is just another, yet another example of the appeal to the Southern strategy. I think some of us at least know what Southern strategy was. Basically, Southerners want reason. I mean, there's a huge demographic of racists in the South that felt neglected during the times of post civil rights back in the late '60s, and I guess the Republicans felt a strategy on how to appeal to those types of voters by using very select coded language to and essentially try to appeal to them by certain types of legislation that was specifically to the disarray, to the dismantling of black culture and also in black economics. So they came up with this type of appeal, right? And this guy coming in and repeating us out of actual real dialogue about, or not just that dialogue, but criticism about the Republicans is just, well, I mean, it's kind of typical at this point. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as I'm concerned, this is some typical ass shit that we see from the right wing, and I suggest that they kind of work on that, work on their verbiage, and work on their race relations before they essentially become even less relevant of a political party.
Thank you for that. And with us, Jubtan.
Yeah, I mean, I think the left are doing exactly what they've done since 2016 that made people want to vote for Trump the first time. They're being the fucking pussy fun police. Trump had a comedian at his rally. He should have had, honestly, the solution wasn't, I don't think, to keep Tony Hinchcliffe off the rally. I think, honestly, a better solution would have just been to have more comedians come up before him. Because Tony Hinchcliffe, yeah, he's the kind of guy who, like, you want to come into a warm room. He's a roast comedian, and he also does most of his stuff on his Kill Tony show where he has an audience that's waited 6 months to see that kind of comedy. He's used to a warm room. I think they should have had other comedians come up to warm the room, and I think his jokes would have landed even harder. But he's the kind of dude who isn't afraid to sort of force himself on a room comedically, where he's willing to say the worst joke first and then keep them coming over and over. He made jokes about how Mexicans love making babies. Democrats apparently don't care about that. How he carved watermelons with his black friends. Guess Democrats don't care about that, right? They only care about the first one because guess what? They don't care. They were being the fun police. They watched the rally, and the moment he said one thing that they could jump on, they jumped on it. They didn't even wait to find something actually racist. He said the island was like a floating island of garbage because Puerto Rico historically has a problem of being covered in fucking trash. They didn't wait for the actual racial humor to even come up because they were sitting. They had teams waiting for something offensive to be said at the Trump rally so that they could start running it. They had speakers at that rally calling Kamala Harris the Antichrist. Like, they had actual shit you could have picked at, but instead they decided to play fucking fun police on the roast comedian. And I think Trump is having a ball with it. He was doing interviews from a garbage truck today because of Joe Biden's reaction to it, calling all Trump supporters, not all Trump supporters, but calling Trump supporters generally garbage. The only thing I think Trump's done wrong since is not fully backing the joke. Trump is trying to lie and say, oh, I know there's a comedian, he said something, I don't really know what he said. What he should have fucking said was, the joke was funny. I had a comedian at my rally because we can have fun on this side. And you know what? You know how I'm doing this interview in a garbage truck? Have Kamala do an interview in a police car because she decided to be the fucking fun cop about my rally. If you want to vote for them, vote for them. We're going to actually bring back being able to have fun and make a joke every once in a while. I'm not even voting for Trump, but that's the angle he should have taken. People are desperate for some levity and some energy right now, and I think Trump's garbage truck interview was giving them a little bit of that, but I think he would have given them even more if he was just like, yeah, you want to vote for the fucking fun police, vote for the fun police. We're gonna have fun on this side, and we're not gonna apologize for it.
All right, Tiberius.
Yeah, I don't give a flying fuck. We're down to what, a week before the election at this point. Like, if you haven't made up your mind at this point, like, what are you doing? On the other side of that, I'm gonna draw out my knives for this particular episode because I don't think we're gonna have another episode before the election, or it's gonna be like it's gonna be like right there. So. I hate all of you, not the people on this panel, but like the politics in general, okay? Because I've had to watch as the Democrats decided they wanted to kick me out back in the days of 2016 because I'm a straight white dude and, I don't belong there. And after 6 years of that stupid ass shit, where they finally, got rid of it after Roe took his shit, now they're making commercials for me because this fucking election is that goddamn close and they're trying to get moderates to flip. On the other side of that, I'm really tired of like the morals and values crowd, which, should actually have morals and values, openly put up a guy who is now convicted of multiple crimes, but also, no fucking problem with the fact that he's a serial adulterer who would pay off people to,
Based.
I'm like, just America, regardless of where we are, regardless of how 100% you're behind somebody, and I have my biases here too, is that I can't take this shit seriously anymore, because if Kamala Harris and Donald J. Trump are the best candidates that we can pull out, we've got a problem. Because I watched the VP debate, and it was 10 times fucking better than any of the presidential debates that I've seen in fucking 8 years. America, straight up, if you want to stop seeing D- results, stop putting in D- effort. And you might actually see some change. So, I will happily join the party of just pissing on who's stupid here, but I do want to just level out. This is where I'm attacking from today. I hate all of you, and I'm going 100% in with, like, this politics is dumb. We need to raise the level, because this election, no matter what happens, somebody's going to be pissed, and it's going to be half of the fucking country. We're not going to find out for days on end because no one can actually convince more than 50.1% of the population that they're right and actually can stand for something. So yeah, I'm here for memes and dreams tonight, and I'm going to go hard in it.
So somebody's wondering, what was the common denominator, Tiberius, in those 8 years?
I think we all know what the common denominator is in that one.
So before we get fully into it, we have to keep in mind that a comedian said that one of our U.S. territories, people that vote, is garbage. Like literally is made of, one of those areas is made of garbage.
That is such a bad framing of what happened.
That America is for Americans was also stated in that.
No, fuck that. Give them
Hold on.
independence.
Not by-
Let's
Let's
Puerto Rico
make
doesn't vote.
Not by the
Puerto Rico
comedians.
doesn't
by
vote.
Tony
Puerto-
because the
Puerto
issue
Rico
that
doesn't
people
vote.
keep doing, because people are now, they're comparing it now. Obviously, there's the Biden comparison that people are trying to make, and it's not the same. Biden was a president making a factual statement on how he feels about people. Tony Hinchcliffe was a comedian making a joke to make people laugh. He was not earnestly stating his views on Puerto Rico, just like he wasn't earnestly stating his views on black people or Mexican people. He was making a joke to make a crowd laugh and to get people warmed up. What comedians, and especially roast comedians, do, they tailor their jokes to who is there. He was at a New York rally where all the Puerto Ricans are, because their way of bringing people in is by making fun of them.
Puerto Ricans.
So he made fun of everybody that he knew was going to be there. It was going to be probably the most ethnically diverse crowd of any Trump rally. It was in MSG. It was in New York.
I would like to point out
jokes.
this idea that he said these things. He did not say these things. Like, first of all, he made a joke, which is a lot different than making a statement about something. Making a joke is inherently not to be taken seriously. Like, oh, thank you very much for August Alpha gift membership. Then the joke was, right now there is a floating island of garbage in the ocean. Did you know that? I believe it's called Puerto Rico. Clearly a joke. And it's really ridiculous that every time a comedian takes a chance anywhere, that we have to have this conversation. It happened with Dave Chappelle. Look at these people's actions. If you want to call them a bigot, show me some bigotry. Don't show me somebody who's doing their job.
Is it really
like,
that?
If it's only jokes, if only thing that's ever happened is jokes, then yeah, and they're a comedian, they go, what's your job? Oh, I tell jokes. Oh, okay. It seems like you have an edgier style of
There's
humor.
definitely a substantial difference between like a comedian making a joke and the sitting president of the United States calling 50% of America garbage. I would say one of them is definitely worse than the other.
Also,
You're right. He should have been honest. You're all garbage.
It's not.
was trying to say. Well, hold on. I think he was trying to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So is it really? Because if I recall correctly, the question was, is this the proper messaging? Is this what Trump wants to do? Is this the direction he wants to take as far as political race and all that stuff? I mean, even albeit it wasn't him saying it, it was somebody on his rally saying it. And I'm just saying that it's gonna be. I mean, yes, you give Democrats any possible chance at sicking and attacking. Yeah, they're gonna go for it, even no matter how low hanging it is. You know what I'm saying? So this one's just gonna be what they consider to be like light work for them, even though it's arguably kind of dumb even to go for that when there was other things that were said. And I will give you some grace to say that it was a lot. There's a lot of room for interpretation as far as that joke is concerned, and I will grant everybody that. But I'm just saying, as far as the question is concerned, can Trump really can he really does he really want that type of message going out, especially towards the Latino community? You said Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah,
Puerto Rico,
and I'm with you.
I'm thinking
blame Trump's campaign.
Yeah, but yeah, so the answer is absolutely not, right? That he does not, he absolutely should not allow something like that to fly, because like right now the Hispanic community is very, very diverse as far as their voting patterns, and to go up there and a week before elections and then just piss off. I mean, maybe not. Albeit there's a lot of delineation regarding the Hispanic community. Don't get me wrong, but let some of those people kind of have some cross identity going on, or they watch the same TV shows and shit, or the same channels and shit like that. Yeah, that's you kind of don't want something like that to come out of one of the people that's supposed to represent you.
I think it was great. I think it worked out because, like you guys said, there was so much crazier shit said at that rally, and none of it matters because the Democrats decided to be the fun police. So even if we want to say, like, okay, in spirit, it was the message he wanted to send, but it didn't go well for him, right? Because the message he wanted to send by having a comedian there is we can have fun, we can make jokes, we can do that here. And even if you want to say, well, look at the outcome, I would say the outcome was positive. I'd say the very easy to defend joke became the #1 news story and baited Biden into saying an actual shitty thing about Trump supporters. And they could have looked at the fact that you had fucking Rudy Giuliani up there talking crazy. You had people saying that Kamala was the Antichrist, and you had this so much psycho shit that got completely ignored because the comedian took he was the red cape.
I think that it was a good thing too. As a leftist, I gotta say, he is the only person that actually made fun of Donald Trump on there. He made the eating the dogs and cats joke, but also it shows the kinds of insight that they have when they're if they can't put together a rally that doesn't isolate part of their base, then it shows that they're not a smart campaign, that Donald Trump doesn't have the kind of oversight that you would expect a commander-in-chief to have. I think that it was a win for somebody like me. I want to see Kamala win. And I fucking love stand-up comedy. I love Tony Hinchcliffe. I think he did a good job of attacking his side and the left, which is what I wanted to do. That's what he's supposed to do. And if we're really to the point to where we're going to take jokes seriously, I'm going to call you retarded every single time. It's comedy. It should be a joke to you.
I wonder why we're not canceling other comedians today that made plays on the garbage joke. Like Jon Stewart made one last night. I quoted him earlier in my opening. We got Greg Gutterfield goes, "Oh, well, it's the reason why New Yorkers are mad is not because they were saying something racist. They're mad because New York thinks it's the floating island of garbage. Like, and like that's funny too. Like these are good jokes. Like, why are those guys canceled? No, nobody's canceled them. It's just total bullshit. I mean, they were out to get him from the start of this rally. Like, first of all, they compared it to a Nazi rally in like the 30s, right? It's a totally different building, because they built a new one in 1965 or 1968. They built a totally different building. They've had Bill Clinton's had his rallies there. George W. Bush's had a rally there. Bruce Springsteen's played there. Like, are all these people Nazis that have ever been in the building after the building that was there is there? Like, it's so stupid. It's just like, it feels like, you ever go to like a club and you see somebody that's just super desperate, and it's gross and degrading, and they just scream desperation over there. That's what the Democrats are giving off right now, desperation, and it's hilarious. I mean, Trump trolled him so hard today with the garbage truck thing that it's exactly like Jeb
Fox
said.
News just paid this guy already.
They got him with the Olay, bro. They got him with the Olay. I mean, Jeb nailed it with the Olay reference. I think
they really did. I don't think he purposely did that. I don't think it was intentionally done, but it just happened to work that way, that they completely distracted the entire Democrat Party with something that is so easy to defend. It's such a meaningless joke.
I mean,
Gibbs, why did you not take over for Hannity at this point? Like, I'm fucking
don't worry,
man.
We're getting there.
All right. So, go ahead, 87.
Appreciate it.
And I'll follow you up.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to comment on what Jeb Sand said. I mean, I get it. Like, you're right that there's more to pull from that. There's more to extrapolate from that comedian or in the thing altogether, the rally altogether. But at the same time, like, you gotta admit that, I mean, it brought attention to those things as well. Like, honestly, I didn't know. I wasn't. I mean, personally, I've been watching enough of these rallies from Kamala and Trump to know exactly what the fuck they're gonna say. Is that when they're gonna say like Kamala gonna be like, Trump, and then Biden, Trump is gonna be like, deport, whatever. Like, I wasn't gonna watch this shit, but because this dude came up and started making this floating on an island joke, I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of crazy, even though that joke can be up for interpretation. But I mean, when my homeboys came across that, they said, well, he made a black joke as well. I'm like, well, what? We talking about? So I had to check that shit out. And then he turned out he made some jokes about some other people as well. So I'm like, okay, well, there goes that Southern strategy shit again. That's how I even pulled this argument out of my ass anyway.
Wait, but that's the thing is, making fun of Puerto Ricans is open to interpretation, but if you make a black joke, then it's not open to interpretation. It's automatically racist. No way.
Well, that watermelon joke, that shit hit hard for us, bro. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you know what? Tony Hinchcliffe elevates a lot of black comedians too. Look at the actions of the person. This is a comedian telling jokes. Look at his actions. Do you know who he's pumped up more than anybody? Cam Patterson. He has launched Cam Patterson into the spotlight. He brings not just Cam, but his dad along with him on tour all the time. Tony Hinchcliffe is extremely inclusive in his real life and how he operates his actual career. Jokes are jokes, actions are actions. Like I said, you want to say that a comedian is a bigot, show me the bigotry, don't show me edgy jokes. You got to look at the person.
To your point about directing attention, the only reason I reject that point is the Democrats were looking for something. The only reason the Tony thing was the thing was because it was the first thing said. He was the opener. But no matter what, they were going to find a line to make a story out of. That's what they had people watching the rally to do. They literally, before the rally started, they were putting in the tickers, Trump has rally in same stadium as Nazis in 1935.
And cut actual videos of it.
Other events don't happen at Madison Square Garden. Like, what the fuck? They were going to find anything they could find. That was just the first thing, and so it distracted them. To that aim, it was kind of intelligent if purposeful, and lucky if not.
Yeah, like I said, man, a lot of us wouldn't have found out about the rest of that rally had that joke not been made. So I don't think that was partially good that was going to go well for his argument. I mean, for his campaign, and for my other guy, that Elder Drazi. Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's about the comedian specifically, but I'm kind of more so looking at how whom he was speaking to. Like, I mean, my guy just said that he was speaking to a very diverse audience. Like, if that's how you want to, get that, that's where you pull from that. I guess I personally didn't see a shot of the audience. I mean, the only thing I can say is a bunch of Republicans. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying he won't make that type of a joke in front of I'm just saying Democrats, if you want to put it that way.
He wouldn't perform in front of Democrats. He wouldn't perform at the DNC. But I tell you what, Tony Hinchcliffe grew up in Harlem, and you better believe that he's comfortable making all those racial jokes in front of people that are the race of the joke that he's making. When somebody comes up to his show, and after they do their bit, he makes fun of them for whatever they got going on. If you're black, he's making black jokes. If you're fat, he's making fat jokes. If you're Mexican, he's making Mexican jokes. Every single time. It's what's different. I'm making fun of you for it.
That's how comedians work. That's how all comedians do it, man. That's how they bring people in.
I'm not gonna. There's not much I can really argue against that, but I'm just saying for Trump to get a guy like that to speak for on his behalf is completely
blame
retarded.
Trump. Don't blame Tony. They are the ones who were so. It was such a bad idea to have him speak at your campaign. Nobody.
I'm starting to think it was a good idea.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of worked out.
I'm starting to think it might have been a good idea. Because
if they thought it was a good idea, they wouldn't be distancing themselves from it.
Hold on. Let me, like when there's a big fire and then you actually get ahead of the fire, you put a little fire and it creates like a fire stop. Like that's what he basically did here. They threw a guy out there they knew would be controversial. And it's exactly like Jeb said. It's really like this mask. Because there was so much wild shit said, but everybody's so focused on this one first thing that
what you're doing though is you're saying this is. Let me give you the plan. Their evil plan is what you're actually saying though.
I'm
what
just saying.
You're saying it makes them look really bad and shitty, like they're bad, shitty people. What you're saying is
no, because immediately you get the crowd booing when he makes the bad one. So the imagery is like, all right, the crowd already disagrees. Trump can distance himself from
Let's
it.
put Tony out there so that way he can say all the super fucked shit that we could never get away with normally.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. It's more.
It sounds like
I think Tony. No, I'm kind of half with you, Drazi. Tony was the least bad person they had. I think he was the best person. And so they had the guy who will say something loud and funny that'll distract you from the actual pieces of shit that they had speaking, because there were some. There were real pieces of shit that they successfully distracted from. Like calling Kamala Harris the Antichrist is unacceptable. From
not just calling her, he was like shaking and angry when he said it.
And Rudy Giuliani going up there and spewing all of the
one of the guys Hitler. I think it's fair game to call somebody Antichrist. Once you start calling somebody Hitler,
two wrongs do not make a right. You do not call Kamala Harris the Antichrist.
Thank Christ for Jeb Tan. God damn it! Thank you.
You don't do it.
All right, guys, I want
Tony showed what you can do. Make fun of Kamala Harris. Don't call her Antichrist. Call her the fucking fun police. Call her a fucking dork or a loser. Don't call her the Antichrist.
If they call her Hitler, it's clearly a culture war to the point she is the Antichrist. Like, I mean, like,
look, can somebody please stop with the escalation shit? Can somebody actually say, you know what? I'm above that. Fuck that. My party doesn't give a shit. Like, legitimately, I would like somebody to do that at this point. All right, second point. And here's the real kicker. Even if people were going to take this at 100%, what does this change? How does this matter? Okay, he pissed off Puerto Ricans. Well, they can't vote, and all the ones that do vote in Florida have largely decisively voted against him already as it is. So, like, did he piss off like that 2% of the Puerto Rican population that might change their mind?
He was doing well with the Puerto Ricans. Before Kamala became the candidate, he was 14 points up on Biden with Puerto Ricans. Once Kamala became the candidate, they're basically dead even. So there was people to lose.
Okay, that's fine. I have a little bit different numbers because it was largely like he was talking about Hispanics earlier, and it's like this is where like Americans are shit because they talk everything about race, but there's no like ethnic conversation where like Trump does really well with Cubans, but I was actually under the impression that he wasn't doing well with Puerto Ricans at all. So like my numbers were he was like in the tank by 20 on them.
No, I was trying. I mean,
he's doing good with Hispanics overall.
The article I read might have been outdated, maybe, but the last I saw was once Kamala became the candidate, she did close the gap, but that's all she did was they were about.
Okay, well, okay, so like, there's levels here where it's just like I'm generally going with some of the numbers I have, but even if we go with some of theirs, like the reality here is that this doesn't matter. If you were gonna have a problem with Trump's or like his campaign anyway, at this point, you probably already don't like it. If you are a Puerto Rican that was, gonna vote for Kamala anyway, you don't care. Like, you're already there. Like, who changed their minds? What does this matter? Why are we even talking about it? Like, there is a level where, like, this shit doesn't matter. Now,
Well,
can anyone tell me of something
there, Ty.
major? Huh?
Can I help you out with that there, Ty?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so in this situation, and I watched the video because I was not expecting this, the side that constantly talks about we can't say anything funny, out there heard the set and started booing and groaning. So the people that were there already supporting this situation did not like what they heard. They may have lost some people in the process of this situation. I'm not going to say it would be a huge margin, but this turned some voters off. So in the juxtapose, they weren't going to win over blue voters doing this. So the only thing they could aim to do at this point is actually shoot themselves in the foot. Whether or not Democrats decided to focus on this issue, that's kind of beyond the point. Because, yeah, there were other statements made, like Kamala Harris is a hooker and has a pimp. Things like this were also said during this rally.
Okay, so like there's levels where I don't know if I want to go to neutral on this one or if I want to go 100% on one side or both. Because there's a level where it's like, hey guys, like we all hate each other. Like if you're like a hardcore Democrat or a hardcore Republican, fuck those other guys. They're not Americans anymore, right? Like we're pretty much there at this point. Like the crazy part is, and like no matter who wins this election, what? The best these motherfuckers get is 52%? So the rest of the country still fucking hates you, won't vote for you, even though they find you like morally or ethically failing on a major level. Trump, a convicted criminal, will get 48% of the vote. Kamala, at least a general traditional politician of like levels of service will not get, any less than 48% of the vote either, right? It's like...
It doesn't matter who you have. That's just how party lines are drawn. You're acting like we don't have anybody that can reach
we
everybody.
used to have 60 point percent like landslides.
Yes,
dude.
and we have whittled down the topics and laws that can be voted on and be supported to laws and the way that we've also gerrymandered our fucking districts. That's how that's going to work. This is how the system works. It's not about who we have up there. Like this is like what you're saying is like the most delusional thing I've heard about why we have the kind of split that we have. It has, you're not going to get some kind of person like what tell me what policies you could possibly present that are going to get a 60% plus majority of the vote.
Well, also, Elder Jazzy, I think in addition to that, like,
stop going to the extremes. Like, straight up.
No, this is what Tiberius I don't think you get, right? Like,
okay.
And I was talking about this yesterday, is... Okay, so the old guard, the Republicans, the neocons, like some of them formed this faction with the populist. Like it's just like the Dems. There's different factions. MAGA's like basically Bill Clinton reinvigorated. They're very populist, but like center right, like Bailey said, with some center left stuff. Like MAGA's really not that far right, despite what people here on Twitch believe. Like it's so you're sitting here. They create this populist upswing movement. Right. And so when you go, oh, it's a new movement, they lose some people along the way, and those people feel disenfranchised. And so they're probably going to be like you and have the TDS and go vote for the Dems. And then they'll also pick up some of the non-traditional Dems or the independents that are going, oh, well, we've been pushed out the party, so they pick some of those up. And it's not this one movement. So you have like these different sides. That's why another reason why these margins are narrowing. Like, and if you have a real problem with this, then why don't you run for office? Like, I mean, that, and get the people to vote for you. Like that's really the simple answer. And if you can't do it, then I guess you come on here and complain more. But like,
yeah. So like 3 thoughts. The first one is as far as like for running for office and whatnot. Is that a possibility? Yeah, sure. Do I want to do that? Fuck no. And we can go into the whole conversation of that. But basically, it's just like, why would I take a job that is absolutely fucking miserable?
Because you have to work. Because you want money.
I mean, you're talking to streamers, Ty. They're not going to understand that equation. They've all taken a job that's fucking miserable.
Oh, fair enough, dude.
That's fair. I do have
okay, so I've said this before. I know it's a hot fucking take, but like one of the biggest things that I hate about our system is like I hate how little politicians are paid. and people think it's ethical and it's good and it's great and all, like this should be a civic virtue. No. Why are you going to give people the level of power? We'll just talk about the feds, right? They're going to be the level of power of a Fortune 500 corporate officer. And you're going to say that $200K is a perfectly reasonable amount of money to pay these people. And then you wonder why we have literally everyone of competency running from this shit at full steam ahead. Like, no one wants to do these jobs that's worth a fuck. Because the job has all of the responsibility, all of the fucking, like, bad PR, and everyone up your ass 24/7. And what's the bonus for it?
I really
You
don't
might
think
have some
that's the
clout.
reason. I don't think that's the reason. I think we have decent political talent. Like DeSantis is very well liked in Florida. He does really well for his base. He does really well for his policy principles and the people who like his policy, right? And then on the other end, you have Josh Shapiro, well loved by Pennsylvania, well loved by Democrats, well loved by classical liberal, like not classical liberals, but like typical liberals of the day. Like you have good political talent. The reason why there aren't huge landslides is because the parties, like Drazi said, for a couple of reasons, are limited on the policies that they can really run on anymore. One, because a lot of problems are solved because we've had 200 years of developing policy to fix problems. But then two, the problems that are pervasive are usually caused by policy that we're already pot committed on. Take Social Security, right? Social Security is broken, constantly almost bankrupt, but no one can run on taking Social Security away because we've already dedicated so much money to it and gotten so many people to rely upon it that you can't ever take that program away. There are so many programs that the Republicans can't run on taking away that they normally would because you lose all support for it.
I'm with you to a point here. Okay, two things that I need to separate out from the prior points that I actually was getting at. Number one, I totally believe that we're going into the 7-party system. It makes sense that political factions are moving, like unions are splitting their vote. Have no problem with that. My general issue here is actually where Jeb is. It's not that we have, like, most of our shit solved. We have a shitload of fucking problems. And it's not like optimization problems. Some of them are core. Like, we are having constitutional crisis after constitutional crisis over half of the shit that Trump does.
What constitutional? No, we're not. This is
yes, we are.
It's all right. Hold on. I know that you got TDS.
No.
It's
no.
Yes,
like, this is straight up. It's not.
You literally have Trump
I would like to give a hot take that's actually on topic here.
Take your cult behavior and blow it up your ass. All right. When it comes down to it,
after you guys get done arguing out of Drazi.
Yeah,
you're being reasonable with this. Like,
I will be reasonable about it. It's very simple. It's because I said it in the way that your pansy ass didn't fucking like. Because I insulted your god emperor.
He's not
no, it's really straightforward. It is a constitutional crisis whenever you suddenly start going, hey, I can declassify shit at will and claim it's like it is because we don't have that outlined.
Oh, God. Listen, let me tell you something. If you're worried about in the grand scheme of things, if he declassified, I don't know, a couple of files improperly versus all the other shit that's going down, you're clearly not worried about the bigger issues, and your opinions are just clown. Like, that's all I gotta say.
You asked for it. You're an asshole, all right? Look,
I'm not straight up. I'm just telling you the facts. Like,
no, you're not.
You're like sitting here
you asked me for an example. I gave you one. I've got a fucking 100 of them, dude.
Keep going then. Give me something good then. Like,
we ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that. So,
it sounds like TDS.
Thank you.
Yeah, claim TDS. I don't like Trump and therefore bad. Well, guess what? Trump is bad. But I've got a fucking laundry list of why he's bad. It's not hard to do that calculation, dude. I don't care.
I have a hot take that's actually on the topic here. I think
what do you got, big boss?
I think that the reaction to Tony's jokes was actually quite revealing. There's this the right actually has quite a bit of liberalism that has creeped into it, just like the church has. For example, even if there's 30% of a church is genuinely homophobic, if somebody says something homophobic people are going to be like, get that shit out of here. They're not going to laugh. They're not going to nod and agree. They're get it out of here because they know that this is bad PR for them. So I know that there's people in that Trump audience that chose not to laugh. The fact that nobody there was laughing so hard that we could hear them shows that they are afraid of being seen as bigoted to the point to where they're not going to laugh at that. Do you know who can comfortably laugh at those jokes? Somebody who's not fucking racist. I couldn't comfortably laughed my fucking ass off that happened at a Trump rally. It made it a lot funnier that it happened there because I don't hate those people. And if you that's the only people that are going to be laughing, who can know that they're not going to get in trouble by anybody for doing it because nobody's going to even suspect them of being racist. This was a secret exposure of how those people felt.
I generally find that 90% of the right does not give a flying fuck about race. It's
and I agree with that. It comes down to the fact, though, that when someone is making a joke about something, typically about race or LGBTQ status or whatever, a lot of the time, not to say 100% of the time, but most of the time, especially when professional comedians do it, they're not making fun of that race. They're making fun of racism. It's funny. We laugh at racist jokes because the concept that you would judge somebody in that way is hilarious. Like the idea of racism is so funny. That's why Dave Chappelle made such a great career, saying the N-word with the hard R, doing whiteface and pretending to be racist, being the blind black guy racist who didn't know he was black, was because people were laughing at the idea of racism. They were and he did it more literally than anybody else, where he's like, look, racism is the funny part. Like, not funny because it's cool, funny because it's fucking ridiculous. That's the reason why we laugh at those jokes, is because it is so funny and ridiculous to distilled black people down to fucking KFC, watermelon, and Kool-Aid. It is ridiculous that one would do that, and so we will laugh at them for it.
Sometimes go ahead.
Real quick. So y'all don't think the Republican Party is trying to shake off this stigma about being perceived as racist or bigoted?
They don't care. It's not that they're trying to shake it off. They just legitimately do not give a fuck.
They do care. That's why nobody was laugh. That's why they didn't laugh at the jokes.
You were born at some of the things.
I think it's half and half, right? Because half of Republicans aren't super dedicated to the Republican Party or their...
I don't want to get away from the thing that you said, which is important.
Sure.
So when I think that for a lot of times when somebody who's making fun of other races, as a comedian, is making those jokes, it is what you're saying. It is it's an ironic kind of humor that only works when we know that the person who's making the jokes isn't racist. However, when somebody like Dave Chappelle is making racial jokes, it's about a shared experience that people have. And that's like there's two mainstream kinds of comedy that we see a lot. The most prevalent ones are ones that come from shared experiences, and then the other one is like ironic humor. There's lots of other kinds. There's like alternative comedy. There's all kinds of other shit. But I would say that this is generally what racial humor is going to fall into. And so I just want to point out that there's a pretty big difference when Dave Chappelle's throwing around the hard R and doing whiteface. It's to relate to other people that have felt racism, and it's kind of like getting a fun jab in.
But what I'm saying is the reason why Dave Chappelle was able to mainstream that humor amongst even white people and to predominantly white audiences where he was doing it was because white people are and were then ready to laugh at the racism, not just laugh at black people.
Yeah, I just didn't want to leave that part out. That's all.
Sure. And it's a meaningful distinction for sure.
I don't want to say that I don't care about any of the race, but I'm a very stand-up comedy is one of my favorite things. So I just want to make sure that we're just kind of drawing these lines clear, because people lose their fucking mind about it, and it's so ridiculous.
Yeah. I agree.
Would we not say that there's a way to do edgy humor where
oh my
it's
god,
leading with the joke itself rather than it falling flat? And what is the difference between why it falls flat versus why it's funny?
Tony did it that way. He led with the joke first. He did the bait and switch. He talked about, he bait and switched, which is the joke, right? Joke first, racists, it wasn't even racist. It wasn't even racial. It was geographical, but geographical humor at the end, right? He did there's a trash island in the middle of the ocean. Everybody knows, he picked something that everybody knows what he's referring to or what he should be referring to, which is the
misdirection
garbage patch. And then, misdirects them and then sends them to Puerto Rico. He did lead with the joke. He did it the right way. A joke falling flat isn't a sign that you did it the wrong way. Sometimes jokes fall flat. Sometimes you can tell the same joke the same way in a different room, and for some reason it just doesn't play as well. Literally,
you should be able to read the room good. But there's you test the audience, and that's why he moved on to something different, figured out what they like. You can see it in real time. He did a joke He's like, okay, that's what you guys want. You're hearing it from them in real time. He's feeling out the audience. Now, myself, I've made edgy jokes before, and some people, when I can tell that they might be a little bit more sensitive, I'll tell them, hey, just so you know, I say a lot of fucked up shit. If anything I say bothers you, let me know and I won't do it again. Just don't think that I'm being shitty to you or whatever. Just say, hey, I don't like that, and it'll be chill. I can't stand when somebody, however, can clearly tell that I'm telling a joke and then wants to get all ass mad at me. Like, no. It's like anything else. If I make a mistake and I offend you with something I say or do, be an adult, tell me. If I continue doing it, now I'm a fucking asshole. And that's
100%.
how stand-up comedians generally try to read a room. And also, we know what it looks like when a stand-up comedian's actually being racist. Look at fucking Kramer. He stopped telling jokes to call an audience member the N-word.
Yep.
Well, those weren't in the set.
That wasn't 4G's chest.
He was pissed. He was.
He wasn't playing 4D chess.
Playing Call of Duty or Halo back in Halo 2 or something.
This is how we know. The joke stopped. He targeted a person. And like, this was bad in people who like stand-up. Jerry Seinfeld, one of the most prolific comedians, was like, dog, I can't work with you now. We all knew instantly what we were seeing was a stand-up comedian being a racist bigot. We all knew it.
I gotta be honest. I just shared something in the group chat. I shared with Lethe, but you know, Biden is just the gift that keeps on giving, folks. First we got the garbage thing, and now he's bitten a baby. And I like
What?
even if it, I don't know if it's like a joke.
I can't
or
load.
like
I
what
can't
he's
load.
doing.
I can't load messages in the like voice chats.
Yeah, but he's been a baby now.
Did you say he bit a baby?
Regardless,
You have to put it in the group chat.
I thought it.
What is your Fox radio show going to be called, buddy?
I see.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure something out. You
Wait,
know, but
was he just playing around? Did he like?
I don't know. The clip is like there's like babies going and they're in costumes. And he's
Wait a
like,
minute.
Like, I don't know. And he leans over and bites one like dressed
The
like
baby was dressed as a turkey, and Biden just nibbled at the kid. Like, come on. Politicians kiss babies all the time.
biting children.
I'm not
now.
gonna act like this is a
Post is a tabloid.
Well, it's also Sky News and shit too. I sent Lethe the Sky News.
yeah, the tabloids because normal people don't give a fuck. Don't get me wrong, it's a little weird. I'm not gonna act like it's just like
you want MSN like Fox
hey,
News got it.
the guy's gone in 3 months and we don't care anymore.
Also true.
We're moving
No
on.
one cares.
Okay, like no one gives a shit. Like as long as Joe doesn't kill somebody while he's in office, no one gives a fuck anymore.
Okay,
I mean, would you be like, if you're a parent though, would you want some random like old
Bro,
person
if I was a
biting your kid?
parent, I wouldn't put Joe Biden within 100 feet of them.
Oh, well, interesting. You say that.
He did the playful nibble thing. It's fine.
Why do I say that? Because he is weird around children, and I don't know I don't know what the vibe is. Like most of the times, like it's usually been claimed at some level of his grandkids, but like outside of that point, like there's been at least a couple of civilians in there.
He's eating the babies. Frankly, he's a cannibal.
Now, to be fair, I think it's weird when like grandparents and stuff they like nibble babies' legs and stuff. People do that shit though. I think it's weird. I never did it to my kid when my kid was a baby, but people do that shit. It's not that weird. It's not there's a line where it's like I wouldn't do it.
I don't know that. Like, I'm not gonna go so far as say it's like a pedo thing. Like I know what a lot of the righties are gonna do, but I will say if I don't have kids, but if I did have kids and some person at an event nibbled on my child,
he didn't actually do it.
I would be like, pretty upset. Like
it's one thing if it's like your kid versus maybe one of your grandkids versus just some rando, right? Like
I think it depends on how the parent feels about it. If the parent was comfortable, then it's fine. Like let's be real. Like there's a line here. That's fine. It's like I wouldn't do it.
All right, so my
there's
social
some people that kiss their kids on the
out.
mouth, dude. All right.
Yeah, look, I understand. Like, okay, so there's a level where, like, again, my social conservatism coming out where it's like there's traditional norms and standards. Now, if we want to question those and have a national conversation about it, I'm all about it. But I kind of get the general vibe. It's like people with their kids can get away with some wild ass shit because you're gonna be like goofy to try to entertain your kid. Like my brother becomes like literally a 10-year-old child when he's around his his newborn. The kid's not even 1 yet, right? On another level, it's a completely different thing when it's, like I'm Uncle Ty, or it's Grandpa, or it's somebody you don't fucking know. Or more particularly, somebody that you do know, but like tangentially. Like there's levels of separation here where like I think a lot of people are going to find this a little creepy if this is somebody's just rando's kid.
Yeah, I mean,
wait. Before we get to that, like we're talking about, he playfully nibbled a kid versus Trump walking in on Miss Teen USA pageant goers in the dressing room. Which is worse? Which would you not want to have around?
Face.
Well,
Yeah,
again,
Trump bad, 100%.
Hold on,
Like,
no,
we've
stop.
already-
Hold on. I don't like. This is why we should just not have this weird pedo jacketing conversation because
I'm not
also
pedo jacketing. He
Hold
admitted
on,
this.
stop. In Trump's daughter's or in Biden's daughter's diary, she said that Joe Biden showered with her in her teens. That is the worst thing we've heard about either candidate with a child. But neither of them are still probably pedos. So let's stop doing this thing where we just pedo jacket everybody all the time, everywhere. Neither of them are pedos, so why are we bringing any of it up? Unless people are willing to say this person touches children and they shouldn't be president because they're a pedophile, I don't think we should be doing this. Well, they might be because of this and that. If there is one person who has evidence that a court could look at and say, oh, this person might have interacted inappropriately with a minor in a convictable way, it's Joe Biden. So I don't think the Joe Biden following people want to start this whole pedo jacketing conversation. And I don't either, because I don't want to pedo jacket Joe Biden, because I don't think what we have on him is enough to say that he is at all sexually interested in children. It's just a weird conversation. It's a weird thing to jump to. I think it really dilutes the seriousness of child sexual abuse when people
I think it tells more about the people who level the accusation. It's just like they see pedos everywhere. It's wild.
To be fair,
I mean, that's not all of it though.
this
Like
came
I'm
up
not even
in
worried about the pedo
response to
aspect.
Joe Biden being weird towards a baby when it's not that weird. And all Leafy's saying is going like, all right, you want to talk about this? Is this really worth talking about when this has happened? That's it. He's responding to what's already being talked about.
Well, hold on.
That's
I want to say that's not even the real issue. I think you're skipping over when you go to the pedo thing.
I was going to say the same thing. We just shouldn't go down this road because I think it minimizes child sexual abuse.
I want to go down a different road that starts from here, though. And I think that this is interesting because we talked about on this channel here before, we've had arguments about people hating parents. Right, and this kind of goes. It seems like a disrespecting of the parental rights, almost to me. Like, it's pretty strange that, like, not from the pedo sense, but like some random old man is gonna nibble on someone else's child, and this is not like, oh, he had permission beforehand to do this. They're like walking in a line in the clip, and then he just like does this to the chicken one. Now, do I think it was like playful or whatever? I guess. Do I think it was like a very bad decision? Yeah, because it gives the idea that anybody can do whatever they want to somebody else's kid.
No,
like,
it's not. It's the president, and somebody's holding out their baby that's dressed like a chicken. Like, also, unless something's changed since the last time I've seen you guys, I'm the only fucking parent here. I'm the only one that's held a newborn infant that belonged to me, and I have any idea what it would feel like if somebody did that. If I held out my newborn baby or my toddler to the president and they went, I feel the same way about it if their grandparents did it. It would just be, I'd be like, all right.
I mean, yeah, but you're king of the parents. That make me like king of the Hispanics because my dad's illegal. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you're the only one that represents that in this group.
I was gonna.
No, I'm saying that I'm the only. Okay, yeah. Everybody who doesn't have a kid knows how it feels to be a parent. Okay, that there is a difference. Absolutely. Everybody who didn't have a kid before and does have a kid tells you how it's changed the way that they view things. This is like one of the most universal
I got people in
things
the chat saying
about
their parents, and they're like, "No, I wouldn't like that." I mean, I'm sure that lots of parents feel differently about this. Like,
that's fine. I'm saying on this panel, I'm the only one who has been in that position before, and I can tell you that I think that I might be more strict about some things than you, and in this case, I'm more lax about it. All I'm trying to say is that when you have a baby, you're gonna expect people to do goofy shit to your baby because they think it's cute or whatever. People surprise you all the time with the goofy shit they like to do with little kids because it's how they were raised or whatever. And unless they cross a line, you just are like, all right, well, I'm not gonna put my kid in that position anymore. This is a little weird. It made me a little uncomfortable, but it's fine. You're gonna run into that shit.
All right, so we're gonna get ready to go on to the next topic here. I think that was pretty good. So
I think Alex Jones probably gonna have a field day with that picture though. Just saying. There's gonna be a whole lot. Go ahead,
Yeah, the
Joe.
woman's
Told you
dressed.
they're eating babies.
Yeah,
They
man.
The
told you
woman's
they were
dressed
eating
in
them.
red.
He sent her the child slave colonies
There
of
you go.
Mars. He was marking them off.
I knew
Yeah, the
somebody was
woman's
gonna
dressed
catch
in
it.
red, so obviously she's offering it up as it's a symbolism of how they're eating babies.
There you go.
All
It's
right,
endocrine,
so
folks.
are these
Drama too.
podcasters being useful idiots? Is this the best way to interview politicians going forward?
Oh boy.
Who we started with?
I'll kick it off a little bit. I might have the least to say
Well,
about this.
I got
He's
the,
got
I got
more,
the
I
intro.
believe.
I got to
Oh,
give the
got
intro.
the intro because he doesn't do intro as well.
Hey,
Shots fired.
former President Donald Trump used his appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience to push false claims about the 2020 election, bash his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, and attack his former White House staff. The episode, which went live Friday night, likely reached one of the biggest podcast audiences in the country, with over 15.7 million followers on Spotify. Trump's interview caused a 3-hour delay at a planned rally in Michigan Friday night. With just over a week to go until November's election, Trump continued to spread doubts about the election results, slam secure voting practices such as mail-in voting and voting machines, and doubled down on his false belief that he won the 2020 presidential election. You had old-fashioned ballot screwing, Trump told Rogan, making unfounded claims about unsigned ballots and phony votes. Rogan compared the label of election denialist to the label of anti-vaxxer, when Trump with Trump railing against mail-in voting, despite telling his supporters to go out and vote however they want. When Rogan asked Trump why he didn't publish comprehensive evidence of alleging voter fraud in 2020, the former president got combative, falsely claiming he did and argued he lost the election because judges didn't have what it took. When Rogan brought up Democrats and Harris labeling him as a fascist, Trump shot back. Kamala is a very low IQ person. She has a very low IQ. Trump was also come under fire after former Chief of Staff John Kelly said in interviews that Trump praised Nazi generals, told Rogan he had an affinity for Confederate General Robert E. Lee. He took a war that should have been over in a few days, and it was, years of hell, vicious war, Trump said. The unedited episode was more of a conversation than an interview, as Rogan asked Trump to reminisce on his political arch and let him ramble about various topics, from the environment to the economy to healthcare. So is this what we want from interviewers going forward, starting with Gibbs?
Well, as a member of Twitch poll and everything else, obviously we want more of this because it's good for business. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Hopefully one day we can do good enough to interview a former president and hopefully the next city one. But either way, like the fact that these the presidential candidates and big leaders are wanting to go on their advance went on with Theo Vaughn. Coming on this non-traditional media, I think is a good sign for the non-traditional media industry as a whole. I think it's good to go there. Also, a lot of these things are pretty nothing burgers that Lee brought up in this article, or that he mentioned, to talk about the Robert E. Lee thing. I think there's a difference between talking about someone's tactics, them being a good general, and then them saying they're they're a good person. People talk about Rommel being this fantastic general, but he's a Nazi. Just because they're people are evil doesn't mean they don't have strategic skill that you can't learn from. And hopefully extrapolate things, especially when it comes to military. I don't know. I feel like that sometimes people just want to live in this fantasy world where everything's all happy-go-lucky, and it's not. But overall, yeah, I think that the future is us, and let's hope it keeps moving that way.
All right, Drazi.
I think that the bad things that happened in that interview are bad things that happens in every interview with Trump. I think that one of the things that was really valuable about it was we got to see him talk for a good period of time about UFC, and it lets a lot of people remember that Trump's not actually, well, people on the left at least, Trump's not actually completely fucking retarded. He's a real human being, and that means that the things that he does aren't just a product of him not knowing anything or just being completely clueless all the time. He has some cognitive faculties, and he's using them to do really bad, fucked up shit. And I think that it's too easy to see some of these people as just a monolith that's against everything that you believe in. And when you can see some kind of common ground, like two people just chatting very casually like this, it makes it easier to remember that this is just a human being. And we don't need to bury all the things that we just, that I think are really bad. And some people might even say, people do say a lot, things that Trump says and does are evil. This is coming from a real human being, and you can hold them accountable the same way that you would other people. So I think that's really good. As far as I think that it's inevitable that this is how it's going to go because of the kind of attention that it's gotten. I think that we need to be a little bit careful when we evaluate alternative media because it's not very accountable. Like when Joe Rogan's come under attack a bunch of times, nothing fucking happens. When somebody at CNN comes under attack, they lose their fucking job. They don't get to be a journalist anymore. And if they do, it's going to be in a much smaller publication. You are disgraced. Podcasters don't get disgraced like that. So it's kind of a push and a pull. We get some positive things out of it. We get some negative things out of it. Also, though, one last thing, I know I'm kind of going long here, is that Joe Rogan actually was able to have a long form conversation with Trump, whereas traditional media can't do that because when they ask him tough questions, they can't really pull back or grant him anything to keep the conversation going, and then he just freaks out and then he leaves. So we get more in these formats as well. So there's good and bad. Take it for what it is. Just remember that the standards aren't the same.
Thank you, Drazi. Higher thinking.
Yeah, so I mean, more or less agreeing with you guys with everything that was said already. There's gonna be some good, there's gonna be some bad. It's definitely great for guys like us, for the podcast, for the streamers that's in here. It means that what did you say earlier? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's for the most part uplifting the relevancy of us simple old folks in our basements with microphones and cameras, just trying to make I don't know, a quarter of a living or something, or whatever we can do. You know what I'm saying? So it's great that they were being taken more serious, and that big name media is essentially shaking their boots. On the flip side, I mean, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of us are just not qualified enough to have these type of high level conversations with these types of people. And then that, I mean, what do we have? Adin Ross. We got guys like Adin Ross sitting there just dancing and memeing with President Trump instead of, like, I don't know, us learning more about his policies and more so the strategies behind his policies, what could come of it. You know, I mean, for the most part, I don't know. Obviously, the kids that watch this stuff don't look towards Adin Ross or any of these other types of people for political enlightenment or anything like that, or high levels conversations. They just come there to fucking throw I don't know, pictures and to make jokes and shit like that, or use emojis and shit like that. But like, and if you want a serious dialogue, if you want a president in the hot seat in terms of a serious dialogue, you have to watch like something like 60 Minutes or something like that. Otherwise, yeah. Unfortunately, it's not making the public smarter, but hey, good for us, right?
Thank you for that. Jebtan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any more useful idiot than any other interview. 60 Minutes, I would say, yeah, it's probably a better standard if you want a combative interview, but 90% of the interviews these guys do are with friendly news organizations, with friendly reporters they know are basically going to half make their points for them and pretend they're asking a question so that they can continue, and if you're Kamala Harris, somehow still fuck up the answer. If these podcasts were just useful idiots that were all slam dunks for whoever went on them, Kamala would be going on them, but she's not, because they're good platforms for people who can stand up to long form interviews. I don't think Trump even does that particularly well. If I was going to give a better example, I would say JD Vance has done incredibly well for the Trump campaign on long form interviews. If you watch JD Vance's Theo Vaughn podcast specifically, the Tim Dillon one was good too, and now he's also going on Rogan. He was exceptional in his long form stuff because these guys are still willing to challenge them. They're still willing to ask them some questions and try to find out more about them as people. It's up to the candidate whether it's a slam dunk for you or not. Trump and Vance seemed to get the memo in regard to what they were supposed to bring to the table in terms of those interviews. Kamala Harris has continued to struggle to look human really in any way. And so a podcast wouldn't be a useful idiot for her. It would be a fucking nightmare. I mean, the one that she did went lukewarm at best, and she never did one again because nobody watched it. So it's like, I think podcasters should continue to be a part of that because I think more information about these candidates is better. If their character is constantly going to be scrutinized, we should give them some favorable looking character opportunities to really just sit there and have a conversation so that it's fair. I think Kamala should take some interviews with Joe Rogan if she can. Like, if she was offered, I think she should have taken it, and she should have talked for 3 hours and given people a look at who she is. She's afraid of people knowing who she is, I think. I think she's afraid of being less entertaining than Trump. She's afraid of being a little more robotic than Trump because she's a lawyer, and it's just not going to play as well. So it really just depends on the platform, just like it does with mainstream media.
All right, Tiberius.
Hell, if I actually agree on this panel on this one, but I agree for a different set of reasons. Number one, for what I want to see out of politics, this kind of interview is actually probably the most superior form of what I want to see. I don't like the debate structure that we have, where largely these are 90-minute debates, and you get like 90 seconds to reply to a thing, and then you go about it. And then when you finally get interviews, sometimes they're combative, but like Jeb was right. There's a lot of this that is, if Trump goes on Fox, he's basically getting like his dick sucked while he's on there. And then if Kamala is on like MSNBC or CNN or whatever, same for her as well. Having somebody who not outright is neutral, but having like a level where you play with the personalities and you actually have a conversation with somebody, particularly if they don't agree with you or if they do, and you see that dynamic, it's kind of interesting. I like seeing how somebody actually handles pressure from other people is very telling. Seeing a level of give and take and pushback and a level of gravitas. There is so much more that is conveyed about what I want to know about a politician in these type of interviews and in these long form conversations than there is in any other medium, by far. So honestly, while I don't like the mass media politics that we have right now, to where we have more people showing up to vote than ever, I do like the idea that I can actually have an in-depth, like, front row seat to my candidate, and more particularly, I'd like to see more of it. I'd like to see, like, once a month a major candidate interview from these folks. Because I think it would completely change the campaign ground. Anyway, I'm done ranting. Thank you very much.
All right.
I want to add one thing real quick. I think that another reason why these interviews are good is, like someone mentioned, it's always good to get the candidates out before the public, right, and have them interviewed. What also is, like, this is actually good for both sides if we think about it, if we really believe in democracy and like republicanism and all that good jazz, is if they get more chances to screw up. And if like someone's like really is secretly like playing the system and they're just this evil soul bitch that's like playing along, if they actually let something slip in the interview they're doing bad on, that could really change things. And I think that's actually a good thing, that's like more likely to slip up because the more, more interviews they got, because you never know how like these different podcasters are going to press them as opposed to like, or whatever. Like they might be fine and all of a sudden they hit them with some bullshit or surprise them. You just never know. I feel like it's a brave new world.
I'll take that from another angle.
Drazi has his hand up.
Go for it.
So wait, am I muted? Okay, good. I'm not, right? No. Okay. The other side of this though, so what I said applies a lot to people like Trump about how much give and take you have to have. So when it's not Trump, we can look at the Jake Tapper interview that happened on CNN. So this is what mainstream media brings to it. Vance was on some bullshit, and Jake Tapper fucking destroyed this man. He tore him up. I think that JD Vance has done a really good job at being a balancing politician to Trump up until now. But you got a mainstream, well-seasoned journalist interviewing him, and when JD Vance tried to weasel out of things, said, "No, the fuck you're not. Answer the goddamn question." Nope, you're wrong. That's like, here's my source right now. He held his feet to the fire, and that's what mainstream media can bring, because of the standards that are at play here. Whereas you're going to get a lot looser. Things are going to be a lot more loose. Things are going to be a lot more relaxed when you're on a podcast, naturally, because it's for the entertainment. Whereas journalists are usually after the truth, or if somebody's hiding something, we want to expose it, that kind of thing. And I just also wanted to say to Lethe, I saw what you did there. You're going to get TOS'd if you keep pulling your guns out like that, buddy.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having guns on stream. You just can't.
What draws you
He was pointing at us.
I kind of want to follow up with what Gibbs was saying, because I want to take that from a little bit of a different angle. I would like to see interviews consistently enough to where you can kind of see a person's normal ebb and flow. Like sometimes they're hitting their stride and they're doing well and they get that great interview, but then sometimes it's like, oh, I get to see that shit interview, and you get to see somebody. If you get 12 interviews in a year, right, during a whole campaign season, because they're now over a year long, right? Potentially you have that ability to see somebody on their bad day, their normal day, their good day, and then maybe that freaky day where they just don't give a damn, right? Like, seeing that full picture, I think, is actually a good thing. I would thoroughly encourage that we see more of this.
Yeah, my thing about it too is long form is uniquely effective for giving us insight on how these presidents might actually be negotiating and talking with world leaders. I'm not of the mind that their communication styles differ a whole lot, because it becomes normal to them to talk to world leaders and make relationships with them. And so I want to see Kamala and particularly Tim Walz, because I find him particularly buffoonish and not fit for executive leadership of a country. In terms of this specific criteria, I want to see how they handle a long conversation that bounces between friendly and combative, because when I watched Trump on Flagrant, that was Trump's best performance. Trump on Flagrant was really good. You get this vibe that, like, oh, Trump, it might be helpful to have a guy who can win a room like this, but kind of play hardball and acknowledge, like, that's where they started talking about weave. Like, they called Trump out for not answering their questions. They just weren't being dicks about it. And Trump was willing to openly have a conversation with them. Like, yeah, this is what I'm doing, right? I take it to a part of the conversation that I like a little more. I spend time on that. And then we maybe come back when I'm comfortable and I have an answer for you. That kind of gave me a little bit of comfort in one of the things I'm concerned with Trump about. And I would like to get that same comfort from the candidate that I support less, right? Because I don't support either of them, but I certainly support Kamala less than I support Trump. And I would love to see her in that environment to get a better beat on, she's never met Putin. I want to know what that meeting is going to be like, right? Tim Walz has never been, I don't think, really in any negotiation of that level in his entire life, you know? So I want to know what that's going to be like for him. I know Kamala can handle combative situations. She was a prosecutor, but can Tim Walz, if he needs to speak in her place, or God forbid something happened to her and he needs to step up and do what a vice president does when the president can't act? I know I trust JD Vance a lot more than Walz. I don't know if I trust Trump a lot more than Kamala, because I haven't gotten to see Kamala, and she's someone who I have a decent amount of confidence in as a negotiator and as someone who can command a room, and in the sense that she used to be a prosecutor.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like that. At first, I was going to say I kind of want to see these people as little as possible, and I'd rather see their policies being actually properly explained and to the level of how it'll be executed and how it's going to affect my pockets, right? That's like only thing I'm really concerned with. Their personalities be damned, but I mean, to give you some credit, that is that we definitely do want to see how they would act in a contentious environment, such as like what's that Kamala, crossing over with Putin, and Zelensky crossing over with Trump, so on and so forth. The only thing I'm kind of concerned with, or the only thing I'm kind of worried about, is the level of as we would say, code switching we will miss out on from not being able to experience that head on. Like, we're not like that. We're not gonna see Trump live stream it up with Putin. Like, that's just not gonna happen. But we will see Trump talk to like fucking whoever about whatever podcaster, Lex Friedman or whatever, for like over 3 hours. But my thing is, I feel you. We can get like a gauge as far as how that conversation can go, just kind of based on the characteristics or the I don't know, the speech patterns of either president or nominee or whatever. It's just that we don't know what kind of code switching they're gonna do when they're actually in the hot seat with Putin and with all these other world leaders.
I just don't know. I need to see what codes are in her repertoire in that regard. I
want to go also from a different angle on this. Is like, at least from the streamer standpoint, we should definitely be wanting this. It's like, think about it, right? Trump did or 3-hour interview on Rogan. The day before, he did 3 different places. Like just today, I've already seen like he gave like a speech somewhere, and then he did the troll thing with the garbage truck, which is fucking hilarious. And like you look at this, I don't know exactly all the stuff Kamal's done, but it's like almost it becomes like a buffet, right? For like people like us, like we can sit here and we can go and look, because they're all putting so much out there that it's almost like camouflage, because it's like there's so many different things to focus on because there's so much coming at you. But it's good for us because we can pick anything if you have the time to go through it and like really just like go off on topics. I mean, I think it's kind of like great for us. I don't know why we wouldn't want this to continue, like if you're really into this kind of thing or you're really in the sphere. I mean, maybe a better question is, do we want it regulated? Like, do we want to start having to be like regulated? Obviously I don't, but that would be, I feel like, almost a more pertinent next step.
Wait,
It's not
regulate
necessarily
what?
no, that's not necessarily where I was trying to get to in this. It's the fact that a candidate or somebody goes on and are not held to any standard whatsoever. So like we're talking about journalistic integrity, we're talking about platforming, we're talking about things like that. And
All
specifically
bullshit.
one of the
It's all dead.
statements that I'm specifically pointing to is the enemy within statements. Because when that statement was made and we know what it means, Joe Rogan quickly moved away from that statement.
I don't know that Joe Rogan is taking the same implication from that you are. I resent the implication that he was like, oh, he knows there are deep Civil War racist undertones to the enemy within and wanted to move off it to protect Trump. I totally disagree with that. I think he heard it, probably didn't really think anything of it, and moved on, because when he did hear things from Trump that he didn't like, he absolutely pressed him. He's like, there's no evidence of that. Can you show me evidence of that? When Trump made claims that he didn't agree with, the issue is there were some claims that Joe Rogan did agree with Trump on, but people are maximally looking for things relating to Trump always being bad faith, lies, evil, right? So since Joe Rogan did an interview with Trump and not with Kamala, they don't care that it's because Kamala didn't accept one. They care that he chose to do it, and that's probably because he loves Trump and, like Zrock said, wanted to jerk him off for 3 hours and blah, blah, blah. They didn't watch the interview. I only made it like an hour and a half into the interview, and I watched Joe Rogan call him on like 5 or 6 or 7 different fucking things, kind of back to back, and then kept calling him out and saying, hey, you're not answering my question. Let's get back to the question.
I mean,
and like
he
really
said-
holding him on the rails more than anybody
He
else.
said
Wasn't
something
the
that's
interview
crazy
just
there.
communist thing? Like, wasn't that a
hang on,
thing
hang on.
anyway?
Drazi.
Jeb said something that's crazy. He had him on because he's a
got you,
podcaster
Josh.
who gets to interview Trump. Are you fucking? That's all you need. You don't need to suggest he's a fan. He said he supported RFK, and like Trump talk shit about him. He might not like the guy at all. If every single podcaster says yes to interviewing Trump, 100%.
I
That's
know,
a very
I agree
good
with
thing
you.
to frame. Well, you said
No,
he probably had him on there because he likes Trump or whatever. No, you don't have to say that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's what Democrats were doing. They were saying that he just wanted him so he could jerk him off for 3 hours in an
Yeah,
interview because he
instead of-
loves Trump. I'm
Okay,
saying I
well, then you
disagree
need to say-
with that.
Okay, I didn't hear you say that. That's probably not the case. Okay, then fine.
Yes,
But,
no, I think he didn't want to have Trump on. He very specifically said he didn't want to help Trump, and he didn't want to have him on. And then I guess Elon convinced him, have Trump on, but also have Kamala on. Then you're not helping Trump. Just
I
give
don't
them
think
both.
he needed that much convincing. Everybody is going to say
Yeah,
yes.
I
to
agree.
interviewing
I
him.
would say.
I mean,
yeah,
he did
who's not
say
gonna
no.
yes?
He had said if we
Maybe Kai
believe
Cenat.
Joe Rogan is not a liar, Joe Rogan said he was reached out to several times by Trump's camp and refused to do it.
Oh, really?
Yes, that was like a month or two ago. He said,
If
"I don't
that's-
want to do
if
it.
that's
I don't
true,
want to help
then-
Trump."
If that's true,
Yeah.
that's an impressive level
But-
of integrity that he held
Yeah.
on to. And if it is the case that he only agreed to do it because he wanted to have them
Yeah.
both and he thought he could, then I would say that's still maintaining it. But like
Well,
to
just-
say no to Trump, that's
Big,
crazy.
yeah.
I just want to clarify though this enemy incoming because I keep seeing this pop up. That was like McCarthy and the communists, right? Like, because you just mentioned the Civil War undertones, and I like when he said it, I just thought.
Well, I was giving it. I was
oh,
giving an
there's this
example.
enemy
I don't
against
think Rogan.
America.
I don't think
Yeah.
Rogan was aware of any undertones. I was just giving an example of what undertones, because I've heard people cite 4 or 5 different
Yeah, there's
historical
also-
events that calls back to.
Just like the Madison Square Garden, that's not even the same building, kind of thing.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Trump did say who
I-
the enemy of the state is. He did say who they were. He
Yeah.
specified who he was talking about. That was the
dishonest
craziest
Dems.
thing.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Lethe, it's,
Go ahead.
2 replies. First and foremost is that, like, I just don't think this is any different than what we would see if that he was doing an interview on Fox, but it was 3 hours long. Like more often than not, like I looked at this as largely him going into a friendly interviewer and a friendly audience. And I expect the same level of Fox, where like Fox is gonna let him get away with shit, and they're gonna throw softer punches. And I don't think that's going to be any different than what we would likely saw on this interview.
Are we talking about the same Fox that got sued for misinformation, had to fire Tucker Carlson, who
I-
then
Yep.
gave Putin an interview? Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure we're talking about the same people.
Do you think him and
Yeah.
Tucker would talk about UFC
I mean,
for 45
are you
minutes? No
embracing
way,
like
dude.
the full political spin zone now? Is that where we're
No,
going?
not at all. I'm just trying to keep things clear.
Okay. It sounds like some forward moderation there.
You did invoke like literally legally the
Little spin.
least honest news organization when you said that. To be fair, you set yourself up for it.
No, I didn't, because like there's a hell of a difference between like, okay, 100% the media
The
are a bunch of
largest
liars.
defamation suit in history.
100%. I'm not going to act like that. I can't wait till CNN has to pay out one, because we know they've had to pay out a couple already. All right, like these motherfuckers are pathological liars. They've gotten to the point where they literally like spin and drain people of their consciousness to fucking make money. So let's not act like these guys are just on our team at all, because they're fucking not. All right. Second of all, like here's the part where I was trying to get with Lethe, although I had to do an end around because of this conversation, is that yeah, like there is no journalistic integrity anymore. There's none of these like major doctrines of, oh hey, like we actually are good people and we're gonna try to do good. No, fuck that. Two things happened that changed that. The first was it got way less profitable to do to do mass media compared to what it used to be, because now there's a fuckload of competition and the input costs are fucking in the tank, because you can make a broadcast with your computer on twitch.com or fucking YouTube. Like they use the same tech and the same practices, just at a higher level. So yeah, whether it's print media, whether it's fucking video media, whatever it is now, these people are not held by the same bounds on just the production side. Then you get to the other side with just the ethical integrity. There's no one there anymore, because there was like 8 different levels of having to verify a source before you actually went to primetime or you went to the fucking editor. Now there's one, and it's you. Because your average news source is the quality of Twitter. You don't want to get an affiliate who has to report to his editor, which is then brought over by cable from fucking Singapore over to New York. We don't have to do that now. You can talk to somebody on Twitter, or you can give them a fucking video feed. And that is our news now. Like, our news
you're
is
wrong.
dog shit.
It's not true.
Our news
that
is
they don't
fucking
have-
dog shit.
It's not true that CNN has the same level of lies as other media sources. It's just not true.
The last I checked, they had a 44% lie
communist
rating by
Yeah,
fact
it's all the
checkers.
time.
What is
Like
lie
literally
mean
the
to
only
you?
one that, like, just straight up bending the truth or outright lying about it. Like I'm quoting a source that I haven't seen for a couple of years, so bear with me here. But like, it had them all listed out. Like, Fox News was number 1, pathological top liar, 51%. CNN was like at 44, and then you had a number of others that were like 38, 39. You know, part of the major slits. Like Fox News, yeah, they fucking lie. I'll happily play to your bias. They're the worst of the champs.
It's not
CNN is
biasy.
far
I'm
behind them.
Citing what is true.
On citing what is true.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not even going to engage in that conversation, because like every
you
one of these
agree with
motherfuckers.
me.
Hold on, this is the difference
to a
between
point.
pundits and the news desks, though. Like CNN's news desk probably fine. Fox News news desk probably fine. Now, once you get the pundits, that's kind of
true.
like more what you're
That's
talking. That's
true.
more what y'all are talking about.
But
Like,
I'll give you that too.
when it
like-
comes to accountability, how did Fox News handle finding out that people knowingly lied? They took it to fucking court. CNN doesn't do that. Like you said, they paid out. That means they paid out. They didn't go to court. They said, we were wrong. We will take responsibility for this. They fire people. They pay when they fuck up. Fox News said, let's go to fucking war. This is the difference. This is when we're
That's
talking about
naturally what a
honesty.
conservative is going to do, and then
So
you
I've
get
got-
pissed off
hold on.
the conservativization fight.
You can say
Yeah,
that that's
hold
what a
on.
conservative is going to do. That's fine. But when we're talking about honesty, in integrity in journalism.
They're all liars.
You can, if you want to say that
like if you want to have this,
naturally less, have less integrity when it comes to journalism, okay, but that's
They
just how you're
shouldn't.
describing it. Okay, but
Look-
it sounds like what you're saying to me.
So hold on.
no, what you're taking what I'm saying out of 4, and then you're taking it up to a 10, so
Yeah,
you can confirm your own narrative.
I'm
with
just
it.
drawing.
media-
I'm just
you've got a media
logically
bias.
I know
extrapolating.
you're just asking questions and making your own conclusions. I don't know why you look like a schizo poster leftist.
Can I introduce an actual metric? So there
Yeah,
is
go
a
for
media
it.
bias and reliability chart that tracks news organizations over their left to right lean, and then also over their reliability of information lean. Fox News is rated just above 60 Minutes and NBC in factual reliability overall. Just above, just barely, but still in the same ballpark as NBC, as 60 Minutes. I'm trying to find CNN's logo must be buried somewhere behind.
There's a difference between reliability and
CNN
lying,
is
though.
a touch above I disagree. I think that's what liberals hide behind so that they can pass over misinformation in a more palatable way.
Thank you, Jeb.
When we're talking
Here's
about
the-
factual
there is a
reliability, they're saying
difference.
things. Hold on. When they're saying factual reliability, they're saying things that you said that were true or not true. I don't care
Correct.
if you played with the truth or if you outright lied. If what you said is not true, you lied.
I do care. No, that's not what lying
I understand
is.
you care because on the left, they have
You can
taught
get
people
bad
to
information.
value hiding your lies on purpose and getting caught hiding your lies, and they'll commend you for it. Well, at least you tried to twist the truth or hide the lie, and you didn't just
No,
outright lie.
I would not accept
Either
that.
way, you are being fed dishonest information, and on a
It's not
chart that actually measures it, MSNBC is worse than Fox. 60 Minutes is worse than Fox. Washington Post is about the same as Fox. CNN is just barely above Fox. Like, they're all in the same ballpark. They're all basically right on the line.
There's no way that you think this
news
way.
value and
If my wife or my
Yes,
best
normally
friend
America-
lies to me, it's a lot different than if they were wrong. The same. I will hold that standard to everybody.
Bro.
If they go, oh, someone dropped the dish. Right, cool. And they're like, yeah, that's great. It's just one dish. But they don't tell you it's grandma as a third time removed fancy dish that she snuggled from Poland or something. Like they break that dish and they just go, I broke a dish. They don't tell you, and 3 months later you find out, oh, it was this dish. You're gonna be mad. They might not have lied to you, but they're being dishonest. That's
I would say that's lying by omission. I would say that's lying by omission.
No, it's just distorting the truth. They told you the truth. They broke a dish.
These news
broke a dish.
organizations have so
When you're
much
saying
access
distorting the
to
truth, I'll put that into that same category. I'm saying that being wrong is not the same as lying.
Yeah, that's not what
This is literally the difference
though.
between
You
the left and the
said,
right. The
I
left
don't
actually
care.
tries to go to principle.
If they've
And, like,
misled
if
me
you-
or twisted the truth, or if they've lied to me, because both are lying. Not if they're just simply wrong. The issue is CNN is so rarely simply wrong. What they've
Okay, that's
done is
fine.
they have
That's what you
practiced-
said. You literally said that.
I did not say they're wrong. I said
You
they're
said-
misleading and they twist the truth. Or
You said
they
if you give
I
me
never said if
information
they're
that
just
turns out
wrong.
you said if you give me information that turns out not to be true,
You're lying.
you literally fucking said that.
No, I
That's
said
what triggered me.
regardless of how you lie to me, whether you hide it by twisting the truth or playing with the truth, or you outright lie.
I'm gonna be
it's a
sending
lie.
you a clip.
And
I'm gonna be
said-
sending you a clip after this.
I know, and you're going to be sending me you're going to be sending me a clip that sounds exactly like what I just said. Because here's the thing: the NBC, CNN, they have practiced this language of we're going to say a lie in a way where we make it seem like once people realize we're lying, we can just make it seem like we just had incomplete information. Issue is they've repeated the Trump called Nazis fine people lie constantly. Right? They've repeated countless lies about the Trump campaign constantly. They've repeated lies that Hillary Clinton didn't have anything to do with the investigation, the Russian investigation into Trump, even though the DNC had to pay a penalty for it. Like, these organizations lie and then they say they had incomplete information, but they never issue corrections, or when they do, the correction is buried at the bottom and they never republish the headline. So the original article is on the snippet on Google. It's on the fucking carousel. And then the correction is on that same article once it's on the fucking 8th page.
Do you think that I don't have a problem with that kind of behavior? Because I do.
You told me you treat those two things differently. I'm going based on what you told me.
Knowingly putting out false information is different than having information that is that ends up not being correct.
Sure, and I would agree with that. The issue is on factual reliability, they are even. They're
And
even. So are
reliability.
you just saying? So okay, if they're even in factual reliability, so they're wrong and right. Hold on, if they're wrong and right about the same amount of time, Drazi, what is your claim? Fox is a better news organization. They have so much more information than CNN that they happen to lie twice as much, but still only get the same amount wrong. CNN is just wrong so much that
It's
they
Fox
can
is
close the
malevolent
gap on
and
Fox's
CNN is
lies.
incompetent. That's literally the
Yeah.
conclusion you have to draw from this.
In which case, I'd prefer Fox because I can parse through lies. I don't
If
want to deal
that's
with
how
fucking
if
idiots.
that's how the metrics turn out, then yeah, I would probably say that, and I would say that one of them is doing something that I would say is morally objectionable, though, and then the
Sure,
other
but
one
what I'm saying is that
needs to
it's
step their fucking game
unbelievable.
up.
What I'm saying is it's
Spin.
unbelievable to me that they actually don't have the resources like in that to that degree that they're just so wrong so often that Fox can be career liars and still end up right about as often as them. That's just I don't believe that.
Mm.
I actually do believe it.
I
Oh
don't.
God.
See,
I don't know.
I actually
don't know how
like
that's-
no, like it makes
I
more
don't know
sense
how
to
that's
me
measured.
where it's just like Fox
Is
seems
that
like they don't give a
TDS?
flying shit if they just completely blow shit out of their ass.
Do you know if they
versus
included
the, like,
local Fox networks?
The modern media is just absolutely
they
dog shit.
They separate local networks here. So like Fox Business even is separate from Fox News. When I talk about Fox, I'm saying specifically Fox News. So Fox Business is different than Fox News. They're rated obviously higher than Fox News is. Just like I think CNBC. Sorry, a lot of these are
Because I would
buried
say
behind
Fox
one
local
another.
news
It's higher
is
than NBC.
probably among just as reliable as any other local news source.
Yeah,
I would
well,
grant
and
that.
this is the thing.
Really?
The thing underlying.
Really?
The thing underlying
The
all of
local
this,
news sources are reliable as
Hold on.
any other source.
The thing
Somebody click
underlying
that.
all of this is that most of these, all the names I've talked
Go ahead.
about so far, are near the top. Like they're not lying very much if they're lying a ton. You know, if they're lying at all, like they're.
It's not like
if
I
the
said that they're
predominant-
constantly lying. The first thing that I said to set this off was you're talking about the legally speaking, the most dishonest news network because they paid out the most for defamation. We
No,
know the
that-
depth of the lies and all.
That does not
That-
mean they lie
I'm-
the most. That means they're the biggest target and they can affect the most people. Louder with Crowder was much more of a liar on the right than Fox is. He's
Oh,
not been sued.
I was
don't-
talking
I don't
about
think he's
mainstream
successfully sued ever.
News
Oh,
networks. Yeah,
mainstream maybe. Mainstream they've definitely
Mainstream's
paid
just
the most
literally
for their
Fox and
lies.
that's it on the right. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, they've probably paid for most
I
for
didn't-
their lies, but I
Yeah, I
don't
probably
think
wouldn't consider OAN mainstream.
the degree of lie and like how many people it affects kind of plays into that. It doesn't speak to how often they lie. I would argue Democrats and
It was a
liberal
cheeky
media
comment
outlets
that set it off. I'll
do-
give you that. But
they do little lies far more often and far more pervasively. Liberal lies embed themselves in academia. They embed themselves in like modern social culture. They embed themselves in so many different things, and they make
Fuck,
people
they
feel
run
like
it.
they. Yeah, and it makes people feel like they can't say certain shit in public. Whereas
Sure.
like the right solely traffics in things that you're not supposed to say in public, and so their lies can be more bombacious, but they're less pervasive. The problem with liberal lies is how pervasive they are and how they get themselves into the highest levels of academia and get presented as fact because the experts all agree with the liberal lies because a lot of the experts in a lot of these cases are willing to use a lot less information and view it a lot less critically when it's from a source that they trust.
I'm gonna split hairs here because there's a level where I will agree with the effectiveness where Jeb is when it comes to the left when they lie. When they lie, they're a lot better at like institutionalizing their lies, 100,000%. On the other side of that, like the problem with the right is that whenever their lies go mainstream, it's a big fucking target. Like this is why I'm like Fox is kind of malevolent. Because Fox isn't competing with anybody. They don't have to have any kind of level of like pushback from any kind of other major source. Because CNN will call MSNBC and vice versa if they get something drastically like fucked up. Fox doesn't have to answer in that way. So
Why do they
huh?
have CNN and MSNBC
Because
calls it out all the
Fox
time?
they do. The thing is
Yeah,
that
but the right
Fox doesn't
sounds
give a
mean.
shit to a right wing audience. You need a fellow right wingers to like call them on that, and Fox doesn't have that. Like if Fox had another like affiliate. Or no, not affiliate. Pardon me. If Fox had a major competitor, we'll just say like,
OAN's their biggest
fucking-
competitor.
huh? Like,
OAN
yeah,
is
I
the
think you're
biggest
right.
competitor.
But like,
But they're
actually,
crazy.
imagine the Blaze, but it literally had CNN numbers, right?
Well,
like,
there's a hold on, but you know there's a reason why they don't get CNN numbers, right? Because
Because Fox just kicks everybody's ass.
yeah, because they're good at what they do, which is they
I'm
tell
not-
the news and then they have pundits at night. And like
Look-
that's really how it sounds simple it is. Like you know, like,
let
if
me
you're,
separate
if you're
this.
getting mad over the pundits, that's one thing. Their news source, like news, seems pretty accurate, and they have like standards they have to meet, just like any of the other ones. So like, it's just really rich. What y'all are doing right here? It's really, I think this is a tactic of the dishonest Dems. I think that Jeb hit it once again like a nail on the head. Y'all just sat here and y'all are just so mad that Fox has actually decided to play y'all's game and is better at it. That now y'all are like, oh crap!
You're,
If
it's
you wanna
so
know the
wild.
truth-
Like you're shitting on me when you're making my point for me now. Like
well,
like,
then
literally-
make it better.
no, like
The
literally,
reason
it just
Fox
came
is
down
that
to it.
big
It's
is because
like
of
the,
Tucker.
no,
Tucker made
no.
Fox-
What?
When they lost Tucker,
Fox-
they lost 20% of their viewers. 20%.
No,
That's
oh
huge.
my,
happened
yeah, they
when
still
Bill
have the
O'Reilly
80,
left too,
and
when
they're
Bill
still bigger
O'Reilly
than
left.
all the rest of them combined.
got big
Okay,
again.
listen though. If they lost
Like,
20%
fucking
of them, that means a ton of people came there and got stuck there from him and still stuck around. They didn't
hold on,
all.
Yes,
they
because
didn't
when
all
people
leave.
are
When
individual
people leave
citizens
too.
who can't make up their own fucking minds.
No,
where
That's
they're
not what
all
that means.
retarded.
Every time
Are you
they
thinking
lose a
about what
major
you're saying at all?
You gotta let Drazi finish a sentence.
No.
It's just like it's obvious that not everybody, that a lot of people came to Fox News because of Tucker Carlson, and
No,
they started
you're
watching
wrong.
other stuff. Then why did 20% of their viewership drop
Okay,
off?
hold
when they
on.
lost
This,
Tucker?
hold on. This
Do you
this
think they
is
left
actually
with defamation
cares
suit?
about
There's
him.
an answer to this. There's an answer. If you look
Not
at their
him.
news, when Bill O'Reilly left, they had another 20% drop, or it was like 18%. Guess what? After about 3 months, it went back up. It's because people
This
leave.
hasn't gone
to
back
see them.
up.
Hold on. He's only been gone what, like a year, 6 months? Like it goes back up eventually. They have good people. They move them around. It's just like in the WWE, right? You lose one of your big wrestlers, you have to move other talent around, and then it picks up. And they're very good
I
at
just think
creating
Tucker
new
built them
new
into
stars.
the monolith
Like-
they are.
Like they have Gutfield now, who's like the #1 show like in his time slot, and like 5 years ago he was hosting the Red Eye. Like they're very good at creating new stars. Like it just takes them a little while.
Well,
And
honestly, in my opinion, it's really just a metric of people who watch TV the most are older people. Most older people are conservative, and there's not a lot of competition in big mainstream conservative media. That's
And
really what it is.
if you want to look at it in a more focused way, they lost 50% of their ratings after 8 p.m., which is when Tucker usually went on. So yeah, I would say that people like
I'm not sure
Tucker.
about the rating, but Tucker did leave 18 months ago.
Because
Well, I
the
think
old
enough
people
time
go
has
to sleep.
passed.
Well, I think he was talking about
Yeah,
when
the
Tucker was
50%
there
drop
after his show was
happened
done.
was measured in July of 2023. So it's a pretty good metric of looking at when Tucker Carlson had left. What I'm saying is very divisive figures that were there is what built that. And I think it's pretty easy to see that. But Tucker Carlson was one of the biggest ones.
he wasn't even big when Bill O'Reilly was big. Like I mean,
Yeah.
they have new people all the time. Like I don't really. This is just not a very solid argument. There's always a drop when a big name leaves, and then when
I
they
had
get
no
a
idea
new
who
big name-
Tucker was fucking 6 years ago.
Like yeah, it's not like it's a massive.
6 years
loss
ago,
they
he
can
was a
handle.
moderate establishment Republican.
A
Yeah,
moderate?
he was like
the same
nobody.
person he is today.
Oh, he was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, now he's a fucking centrist, cuck, populist righty loser.
With a
I
very
don't
strange
think
laugh.
he's a centrist, but
He's not like he's. I mean, politically,
center looking pretty
he's like-
extreme. If that's the
Well, no,
case.
because that's the thing is socially.
No,
he's
that's
not
what's
center.
crazy is the center's not extreme. It's the left has gone so far down the road.
No,
that
no,
you're
I
like,
don't think the
oh,
center
we
is
know what
extreme,
center
but
was.
if Tucker Carlson's a centrist, the center.
Because Trump
Wait,
and
guys.
Tucker are politically, policy-wise, very close to the center. That's the issue. But their rhetoric is extreme. Their social views are extreme. But politically, what?
Those social views they
Trump
want
is
into
the pro-
policy.
Trump is the anti-federal abortion ban Republican president, right? The Republican president that loves spending. The Republican president that pushed through more gun control, like executive orders than Biden or Obama combined. Like he is policy-wise pretty in the center. And where he wasn't in the center, the Democrats have now moved and made him the center because he pretty much showed them that strong border security should be a center issue. Like everybody should be interested in that. And so the Democrats followed suit once they saw the cost of not going with things the way that Trump did. So it's like Trump and Tucker are closer to the center than establishment Republicans. Establishment Republicans are farther to the political right than Trump and Tucker Carlson are politically.
I've been saying that. Nobody believes it.
Like I'll put it this way: in a way, they are center. The problem is that if you add another a dimension to this, they're on the bottom of the diamond.
You mean
They're
like they're
Tucker's just Tucker's not a libertarian. He's a statist.
Well, yeah, I think the top is the authoritarian one.
It depends on which one you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, Nolan chart is on the bottom. There's one that is on the top. I can't remember which
Gotcha.
one that's called.
Well, yes, they lean in terms of rhetoric to more authoritarian rhetoric, more state intervention, right? They're closer to a lot of mainstream Democrats in terms of more state intervention versus less. Whereas mainstream Republicans are a little bit more toward the middle on that up and down scale because they do like state intervention in some things and not in others. But that's where Trump and Tucker differ. They're a little bit more state.
I've heard Tucker describe it himself because he's described his movement. And this was before he left Fox News, before any of those particular controversies happened. But where he says he moved was on one of the issues where he is very similar to Trump. And that was, he says he used to be an uber free market capitalist, that he believed that the free market was the solution to everything. If you just get government out of the way and you let, corporations and companies do what they want, then the free hand of the market will fix all of our problems. And when he started being confronted with some of the newer positions within the party on immigration and on and a lot of these people, especially who were pretty conservative but were also union members, he started to think that no, capitalism actually isn't the answer to everything, and he started making some sort of big government policies that he started to believe. And he says this himself, that that's where he stopped being traditionally like a Mitt Romney type Republican, when he started moving into sort of this new space that he was describing to the audience back when he did this, like at a round table on stage, like about 10 years ago. Yep. And I didn't understand fully what he was talking about then, but now thinking back on that interview, it explains a lot of why he did what he did.
Yep. I just wanted to give you guys, it's really quick, just for fun, for entertainment. It's my favorite interaction between Tucker Carlson and Trump. Trump once said to Tucker Carlson, "It's true that you have better hair than I do, but I get more pussy than you do." And this was public statement. It was in 2016, so nobody remembers.
I mean,
because it's funny. It's a funny joke.
It's also probably true.
So funny.
He didn't say it as a joke. It was a very smug, matter-of-fact thing. It was definitely like a rich guy one-upper thing.
Is it though? That sounds like a joke. Like, hey,
it does sound like a joke, but
like if I'd be like, hey, my buddy over here has got a great beard, but I got a longer one.
I would say in good faith, it felt like the kind of thing that somebody with like a lot of money and power just kind of just sort of like shoulder checks a guy. It seemed like a little dick waving contest thing, but I think it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
If he said it was a joke, I would say fine, but.
Yeah, with what I kind of said, though, I think that moves them closer to the political center because they are more amicable now to the market intervention policies the Democrats have been amicable to for decades. Do I think it's misguided? Yes. Does it move them more extreme on the up and down scale? Absolutely. That's why I said on the up and down scale, they're getting closer to where Democrats have been in terms of state intervention. But 100% agree. I don't agree with them. I am a conservative. I'm a small government conservative. So I'd be kind of on the mid. I'd be like bottom middle on the up and down scale and pretty far to the right. I'm like far more extreme politically than Trump and Tucker Carlson. If you wanted to distill down why I'm not voting for Trump, it is largely because he is not extreme enough politically for me. So it's like
okay, I want to separate here. Like Jeb, I like you a lot. This is why, like, I have no problem saying that I'm part of the right, but like, not kicking you out, right? So I'm gonna mortify our friend Gibbs here, but like, I legitimately believe this. I'm not terribly far from Trump or from Tucker. I agree with them on like 70% of issues. Hell, I voted for Trump once. But the other problem is like, I have a problem with their priorities, and more particularly that I just think that they're fucking brain drained. It's like. The policy would really convince me if it had like 10 levels of thought to it and only doesn't get past page 2 is the general problem I keep having. Cool, we're going to do a wall. Well, how does that actually help? How does it actually solve the problem? It doesn't. Then Jeb coming out here from the Raptors is like, hey guys, we need to be out of the asylum treaty. And I'm like, fucking thank Christ. Like there are intelligent people on the right, but they're more radical than what like I like to think I am. Like I'm a little authoritarian because I think people as social conservatives need ass whipping sometimes. That's what the part I miss about the right is whenever people were being dumb, they got ass whippings. But apparently we don't do that no more. So yeah, like I don't. I'm going to defend this. I don't think I need to be disowned here. I think people like Jeb just have to accept that. Yeah, they are kind of radical, and right now they're kind of unpopular, which kind of sucks.
And
My general issue is you guys are smarter than MAGA by like a country mile, and it drives me nuts. Like MAGA has so much fervor and energy, and if it had even a modicum of intelligence, like it could moderate itself into something really effective.
I agree, but unfortunately, a lot of people got fucking bullied for decades about how racist and misogynist they were for not being super pro Obama on fucking everything, and so they reacted strongly and voted in this guy that was shitting relentlessly on the people who shit relentlessly on them.
We're technically going into open, and Higher Thinking had out at 7:30, so I got to let him get a outro real quick, and then we can continue.
Yeah, it's been, again, appreciate the invite. It's been a whole lot of fun. I learned a lot yet again. Can't wait to watch do you guys do rewinds here? Like, can I go back to your channel and watch it again? You got a YouTube channel or something?
Yeah, I got a YouTube channel, and I post a VOD, and it'll be on Tiberius. So
okay, for sure. So I get to listen to some while doing my job tomorrow. But yeah, man, Higher Thinking, Chicago Black Relation on YouTube. Check us out. Man, it's been great, man. Can't wait for next week.
Appreciate you. Thanks for coming through. You were awesome.
Nice to meet you.
That dude is great.
Seems like a good dude.
I just want to point out, it's not.
Please draw.
It wasn't the idea that the right just like didn't fully accept Obama. Obama was so relentlessly attacked over every single fucking thing. Not wearing a lapel pin, not having a tansy. I'm just saying that the statement. Now you can say anything else. I'm just saying the statement that just because they didn't like super accept Obama, it wasn't just that. It was like insane levels.
As a country, we have been gaslighting the fuck out of each other for 40 fucking years. It needs to chill. Like literally, why did the fucking the Clinton impeachment never needed to fucking happen, but we fucking did that shit anyway? Straight up, didn't need to happen. It's his fucking business. You can condemn him for what you want. This is not something that requires a congressional fucking impeachment process.
Why did he get impeached, Tiberius? Why did he get impeached?
Because he lied to Congress about getting blood.
Because he lied to Congress, not because of his business. Okay, got it. Just make sure.
And how did we get into this conversation? Oh, that's because Congress was investigating his business, which, quite frankly, they knew was just a personal fiasco. Like, they turned... Like, literally, people want to talk about lawfare? Let's talk about lawfare. Republicans weaponized lawfare when Newt Gingrich decided to fucking go after Clinton. And it's been escalating in my lifetime ever since.
Yeah, what I was saying, Eldrazi, is the vast majority of conservative voters did not do that to Obama. They were all called racist. Obama, when he thought no one was listening, in 2008, before he was ever president, talked just massive shit about voters in the Midwest, saying that all they cared about was having their guns and being racist, basically. And that's how they were treated for his 2 terms. They were treated as the other. They were treated as a bunch of gun-toting racists. That's all who votes for the other side, while our candidates were busy correcting people at rallies who were trying to go after Obama in the ways that you're talking about. John McCain was telling people, no, he is an American citizen.
What I called you out on was saying because they didn't super support Obama.
No, you're wrong. Yes, and you're wrong, because Obama wasn't talking about the birthers. Obama was talking about Midwest fucking voters. When he thought no one was listening, he was talking about people who just didn't want to vote for him. And he was calling them gun-toting racists who are too stuck on being gun-toting religious racists to vote for him. That is what the Democrats called Republicans and conservatives for 8 years, and so Trump came in as a reaction to that. You can't deny it. It's true. I have the quote.
I'm saying I don't think that the statement that just because they didn't super support Obama.
Oh my God. You're wrong. Midwest voters were not all the birthers. Midwest voters were not the people going after him. He was saying this about Midwest conservative voters who just weren't voting for him. And it's him, not Democrats even at large, other than him, but he was prim and proper the way John McCain was toward him. No, Obama, when he thought no one was going to hear, but Huffington Post dug it up, he said that voters in the Midwest who didn't want to vote for him were just people who were clinging to their guns and religion and their antipathy toward people who are different than them, and that's why they weren't voting for him. Don't give me the shit that he was only talking about people who were being hateful and birthering him and tan-suiting him. He was just talking about people who didn't vote for him or who weren't going to vote for him.
I don't know how that explains how that dismisses me saying that the reason why people on the right were painted that way is because they just didn't super support him.
Because he was talking about people who literally just
Hold
didn't
on.
super support him.
I want to jump in on this.
And he painted them that way.
I can
And
give you
he's
modern
Obama.
examples. I can give you modern examples. This has happened this week. Michelle Obama basically went up on a thing, gave a speech, and it was
anything else that you
lampooned
say isn't
on-
going to apply to what I'm saying because I'm calling out a specific statement about a specific thing. I'm not making a broad statement here. Just
All right,
putting it
well,
out there. So it doesn't apply to
sure.
what I said. That's all.
Sure. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. I don't care. Anyway, long story short, Michelle Obama went out here and basically said all men suck, right? So recently, she went out here. It was lampooned on a whole bunch of comedy shows. I saw it. It's sad. Okay. For years, it's been this message kind of Tiberius touched on, oh, if you're a white male, you suck, right? I watched Kamal on TikTok the other day, and then a great source for good information right there. TikTok say, "Oh yeah, how dare you say Merry Christmas?" And then it cut to the next scene where she's saying Merry Christmas, right? There's a group of segment of people who one feel like they've been lied to by the Dems, and then two, there's these same group of people for the most part are also they've come after us and they've hated us this whole time, and they've been bashing us for the last 12 years straight, and they're sick of it. I think it is a little bit ridiculous that the only reason why they're doing it is just because they don't have the same values. That's definitely act like there's not a true
the issue, and to connect it to Trump, we had Obama saying that, right? But then John McCain coming up in his rallies and correcting his rally goers and saying Obama is a citizen, he's a guy who loves America, who just thinks differently than me. McCain gets decimated. Then, next election cycle, Mitt Romney plays nice with Obama, super respectful, super nice and sweet. Obama's own VP says McCain wants black people back in chains. McCain gets decimated. We finally get a guy that comes here and is willing to play that game. And you wonder why he got voted in and why we haven't been able to get rid of him. Because we had guys who refused to play the game, and we got fucked in the ass twice in a row. So we're like, fuck it. We need the guy who's going to play that game. And guess what? That guy played that game, and he abused that game, and he made it 10 times worse.
If you're talking about somebody who worked for Obama saying that and then putting that on Obama, can't you also
No, a guy on his ticket.
On his ticket. Yeah. And the guy, what about the person on McCain's ticket, Sarah Palin? She didn't hold back.
Mm-hmm. What did McCain have to say about it? Did he step out and actually challenge her on it? I believe he did.
That was the problem.
He challenged her several times.
He tried to walk back some things that she said.
Obama never tried to walk back. Obama never tried to walk back that he wants to put black people back in chains.
He especially tried to walk back. Keep in mind the example that you're giving about clinging to their guns and Bibles. That was brought out not by Republicans but by Hillary Clinton, who herself was trying to use it as a weapon in the primary against him.
It doesn't matter who was trying to use it. The fact is the fact. I don't give a fuck.
No.
Clinton was in the same language against Trump.
Did he say it or did he not?
They literally Hillary followed him in the same language, calling them deplorables. It's like a playbook they have.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to say that Democrats don't understand this, Hillary Clinton certainly understood it because she instantly knew how to use it as a weapon.
No. What I'm saying is they refuse to admit that they understand that that's exactly the reason why they got Trump as their opponent. That's what they're pretending they don't understand. I know they understand it.
They wanted Trump.
But yes. They wanted Trump. But they wanted that to be the game. Obama's campaign started all that shit being the game in modern politics. Calling everybody racist, calling everybody misogynist. That was what you used against detractors of the Obama campaigns. Both of them.
No, I mean, if you want to say that about Hillary Clinton,
I definitely agree with that way.
But no, I don't think Obama starts that. I think Obama turns things. I mean, the whole reason he
Just
did the
in
whole open chain
2008
strategy
saying
in
it.
in 2008, yeah, and it worked out very well for him was because he was running a very positive campaign. But one of the reasons why a lot of people look back at 2008 so positively is because, yes, you're right, McCain also was that way. Like they both ran relatively positive campaigns. It's the most positive campaign that I can remember,
Yep.
like in living memory. Is the
Keep
2008
in mind
campaign.
too, like John McCain has been looked down upon, and this is the thing too, is like the Republican Party then is no longer the Republican Party now. We've had numerous MAGA supporters come out and say disrespectful things about John McCain. We saw Carrie Lake just recently say the same thing about John McCain. So the party of 2008 is no longer the Republican Party today. In fact,
It's so rich that the left is saying this. What they just
I'm
say?
agreeing. I'm telling you
they bitched
why.
so hard about John McCain because he said bomb. He's saying
Gibbs,
bomb,
look,
bomb,
okay,
bomb.
you
Iran.
came in here
and then
said that
all of a
shit about-
sudden,
no, hold on,
the
Gibbs, you came in
Republicans
here
are like the bad
saying
guys
this
for
shit
bitching
about
on it.
like Kamala saying Merry Christmas. She was saying, "How dare you say Merry Christmas?" in reference to the children that were being in school during COVID. So when she was saying that, she wasn't saying that, "How dare you say Merry Christmas?" and clutching the pearls. You can cry baby more, but that's okay.
A lot of times, it's not
Okay, this is stupid.
Yeah,
This
if
is
you look
dumb.
at every single Christmas, if you look at every, if you look at every, if you look at every, if you look at, if you look, 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 how long do you want to do this? I can do this, kids. I can do this all day long. So if you look, 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 look. Okay, cool. So Gibbs, if you look at every Christmas, Joe Biden.
Everybody can get muted, so everybody wants to have some order here.
Yeah,
Gibbs, if you look at every Christmas, Joe Biden and Kamala
I can
Harris
mute folks.
both said Merry
He
He
Christmas.
said yeah, then just kept going.
Go. Yeah, I mean that's what we're gonna do here. I mean, I guess.
Ladies
Okay,
and
good. So if
gentlemen,
you look at
Republican
every
talk
Christmas-
radio
Oh, here we
versus
go.
If you
Democrat
look at
talk
every
radio.
Christmas, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris said Merry Christmas. They have no problem saying Merry Christmas. Okay.
Oh, they
I've
love
already
to
looked
show it
into
on
this.
loop, all of the, like
Yeah,
every
I mean,
year.
And then they said
Merry
at the rally
Christmas.
just recently when they had Crisis King at the wrong rally and they kicked them out. Yeah, okay. We
Oh,
believe
the
you,
Crisis
right.
King thing. So are you saying that was a heckler or no? Do you think that was a heckler or do you think they were genuinely saying Crisis King?
They were genuinely saying it. Wait, why would you?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because they were a heckler. They were there to start
They did
shit.
it to Vance. They did it to Vance too.
And now, ever since then,
How
there
is
have
it
been
any
people
different?
from.
Wait, why is it? Why would it be
No, hold on.
different in
Look,
those situations?
ever since that rally, now we've had multiple times where Trump has been in a rally and people have been praying over Trump. And you even had someone say that Trump is the chosen one. I
Well,
swear to you,
what-
they said Trump was the chosen one.
Well,
I
the chosen one
Why?
stuff has been going
One
on
has
for
made
many
fun
years.
of Christianity and one has embraced it. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say Trump is making fun of Christianity
How is he making fun of it by
So-
saying you're talking about Jesus being Lord regularly, like all the time?
because
Hey
they
guys,
are
I got a
doing
dip.
blasphemous things.
Because the
He used
religion
to make jokes
preaches
about
against
Pence
that.
praying. Like
was
every
nice
time
being
Pence
here.
would come into the room, he'd and left with somebody, he'd ask the person later.
Peace out. Oh. All right, that's it for me. I'm out of here. That shit was starting to make my head hurt for real, for real. I had to turn down Gibbs and everything, but I have something coming up. I don't know. I'll probably. I'm gonna try to get a movie night tomorrow on the Discord and watch a scary movie. If you're part of the Discord, look for a message about it. But also, I'm probably gonna do something Halloweenish, maybe play Silent Hill 2 again, which didn't do super good today, but I was probably just gonna do that.